Welcome to this training on radial and ring socket circuits. You'll build both types step by step, test them under normal and fault conditions, and see how they behave differently in practice. By the end, you'll understand how each design affects circuit reliability and performance, and why the choice between them matters in real installations. Let's start by setting up the practice board. Turn to the workbench. Reach out for the socket housing and pick up one by squeezing the trigger on your controller with your index finger. Face the practice board and look for the glowing outline. Move the socket housing into the outline and release it to snap it into place. Continue until all 6 socket housings are mounted. Great, socket housings are in place. Now let's prepare the consumer unit. Remove the lid of the consumer unit. Reach out to it, press the trigger to pop open, and set it aside on the workbench. Nice. Now from the workbench, pick up the 32 amp breaker and mount it into the highlighted slot inside the consumer unit. This breaker will protect your circuit. Before we start cabling, let's get familiar with switching tools. To change tools, tilt your thumbstick sideways. You'll see a small carousel pop up showing your current tool in the center and the next ones on each side. Go ahead, try cycling through them. Give it a full spin to see all the tools available. Each one will appear in your hand automatically as you switch. Great. Now select the cable tool. To place a cable, press the trigger once on your start point, the consumer unit. It will highlight when selected. Then move to your target socket and press the trigger again to set the endpoint. The cable will automatically route and clip into place. Repeat this for the remaining sockets to complete your circuit. Nice work! The cables are now in place between the consumer unit and each socket. Let's move on to the next step. Switch to your wire strippers and walk over to the first socket. See those loose cable ends? Strip the brown, blue, and green-yellow conductors. Pick up a faceplate from the workbench and hold it in your hand. We'll connect the conductors before mounting it. At each socket, you'll see 2 of each conductor. 2 browns, 2 blues, and 2 green-yellows. That's because one cable brings power from the consumer unit, and the other continues to the next socket in the circuit. On the faceplate, the live and neutral terminals each have a single connection point that can take both wires. Connect both brown conductors to the L terminal and both blue conductors to the N terminal. For earth, there are 2 separate terminals. Connect one green-yellow conductor into each. They're linked internally, but both need to be connected for proper continuity. Use your pliers to bend, insert, and secure each wire neatly. Once the first socket is fully wired, the system will automatically complete the wiring for the remaining sockets. Now that all sockets are wired, we'll connect the radial circuit into the consumer unit. This will supply the first socket. We'll complete the return path later when we convert it into a ring. At the consumer unit end, locate the cable coming from your first socket. Use your wire strippers to remove the outer sheath. Then strip the insulation from each conductor, brown, blue, and green-yellow. Next, make the connections. Connect the brown conductor to the 32 amp breaker terminal, the blue conductor to the neutral bar, and the green-yellow conductor to the earth bar. Make sure each conductor is fully seated and securely tightened. That completes the live feed to your socket circuit. Excellent. Your radial connection is complete. Give the terminals a quick check to be sure everything's snug and neat. Once you're happy with that, go ahead and close the consumer unit cover. Now switch the main isolator to on. Great, now turn the main switch to the on position as well. Next, let's turn on the RCD. Finally, flip the 32 amp breaker on. All right, your radial circuit is now live. Power's running through all 6 sockets. Before we move on, let's confirm everything's wired properly. Grab the socket tester from a workbench and check each outlet in turn. All 6 sockets are live and wired correctly. Well done. Now, let's imagine a real-world scenario. The cables you've just installed are now buried behind walls, under floors, maybe even tucked behind kitchen units. Everything's working fine, until one day, someone drills into a wall to hang a shelf, or a screw catches a cable run under the floorboards. A section of the radial circuit gets damaged. Maybe a conductor's been nicked or broken. So, what happens then? How would that fault affect the rest of the sockets on the circuit? We've introduced that kind of fault into your setup. Now, select the socket tester from your inventory again, and check each socket one by one. See if you can spot where the fault has occurred. We'll look at how to improve that next by turning this radial into a ring. A ring brings a second path back to the consumer unit, so sockets are fed from both directions. In the next steps, we'll add a return cable from the last socket to the CU and form the ring. Then we'll test how it behaves. Before we begin, switch off all circuit breakers at the consumer unit, including the main switch. Then switch the isolator switch off. Next, remove the CU cover and the last socket's faceplate so we can access the terminations. We've seen how a single break in a radial circuit can leave part of the system without power. To make the installation more reliable, we'll now convert this radial into a ring circuit. A ring provides 2 paths for current to flow, so even if one section is damaged, the other side can still supply the sockets. Power is off, the consumer unit is open, and the last socket faceplate is removed. We're ready to complete the loop. Select the cable tool. Click the last socket to set your start point, then click the consumer unit entry to set your endpoint. The cable will route automatically and clips will snap into place. Prepare the last socket end. Use the wire stripper tool to strip the brown, blue, and green-yellow conductors. Terminate at the last socket. Connect brown to L, blue to N, CPC to ground terminal. Now, prepare the CU end. Use the wire stripper tool to strip the brown, blue, and green-yellow conductors. Terminate at the consumer unit, brown to the 32A breaker, blue to the neutral bar, CPC to the earth bar. Great. Now install the consumer unit cover back on and restore supply. Main isolator on, main circuit breaker on, then the socket circuit MCB on. The ring circuit is now assembled and energized. Let's see how it behaves with the same break still in place. Pick up the socket tester and check each outlet in order. Start at socket 1 and work your way to socket 6. First socket works just fine, as expected. This one works as well. This one is working too because it's before the cable damage. See the difference? With a second path in the ring, this socket still works even though the break is still there. Test the remaining sockets to make sure they're working as well. All sockets are live, but don't be fooled. This ring is still broken. Current is simply taking the other path. That's unsafe because one side of the ring can be overloaded. You must isolate and carry out formal ring continuity testing before returning this circuit to service. Here's the takeaway. In a radial circuit, current travels one way, so the full load runs through a single path. That often means a larger cable for the same breaker rating. Think 4 force on a 32 amp radial. In a ring circuit, the load is shared in two directions, so 2.5 milliamps is typically sufficient on a 32 amp ring. But this only holds when the ring is intact. A broken ring can overload one side, which is unsafe. That's why we always verify ring integrity with proper continuity tests before returning to service. This concludes our lesson on radial and ring circuits. You've seen how radials lose supply past a break, while rings share current both ways and can use 2.5 milliamps at 32A when intact. Remember, live sockets don't prove a sound ring. Always isolate and perform ring continuity tests before returning to service.